Hello everybody, this is Austin with NavGunner, and we're here today to talk about the installation of a 3-round burst kit into an FNC. So what you see in frame is the lower half, that's the lower receiver. The upper receiver in this case has been removed so I can set up and get the camera in frame, and my hope is that you guys can see closely what I'm doing. I'm going to do the best that I can, that is. This particular example is a registered receiver, and it was done by Phoenix Arms prior to May 19th of 1986. I do say that most conversions were done through a SEER, registered SEER, and that was by SNH Arms, which the H side of that is Curtis Higgins of Owasso, Oklahoma, and he did a fantastic job, and I believe his conversions are some of the best. So if you saying that, since it's a registered receiver and it was done by someone other than Curtis, the SEER geometry is a little bit different than what you'll see on the SEER guns, but functionally it's the exact same. So the process of doing this, installing this 3-round burst kit should be the same for you. Okay, got all that out of the way. We're going to get started diving into the installation. And first, put on your safety glasses. The hammer spring on this is under quite a bit of tension, and it could hurt you. I'm fearful. In this video, I'm going to do the best that I can to take it out politely, but it may go shooting across the room, and that's okay as long as we have the proper safety gear on. That's keeping us safe. That's all that really matters. And if we lose it, please, no problem, get a hold of me at navgunner.com, and I'll do the best that I can to help you out. All right, so first things first. The hammer is down. It is being held in place by the safety SEER, aka the full auto SEER right now, and once we relieve it, it will be resting on the primary SEER. Let's go ahead and make that happen now. So I'm going to put it in safe, and then I'm going to get some pressure applied to the safety SEER, and you should hear a click. There you go. So now it is off of the full auto SEER, and then we want to get to the hammer and we want to release that. So I'm going to put it into a firing mode, doesn't matter which. While riding the hammer forward, we're going to pull the trigger and release the bulk of that tension on the hammer spring. Okay, this is what you should see. I'm going to grab a flathead screwdriver. This is what works best for me, but you may find something that's better. And we're going to put it down in that axle. That's the retainer, the spring retainer, and we're going to push in just a little bit and come up. And I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it any better. If I did that 3 or 4 times, we would have had different results every time. But it's out now, and you can see that spring and axle. Let's get it out of the way. Now we've got to rotate counterclockwise the selector up, and pull it out. It's going to take a little bit of a wiggle. Okay, pull it out of the way. And we're going to take out this frame. The frame that comes in the semi-autos is the shell, the sheet metal shell for the burst pack. There's no components in it whatsoever. When they were brought in from Belgium, they needed something to occupy that space and serve as a hammer retaining pin lock, for lack of a better way to say it, because this all works together as an assembly. So when you pull this out, you're not going to discard it. You're going to take that piece and you're going to place it somewhere for safe storage. Little tip for you guys: when you do this kind of stuff, help out the next guy in line and write on the bag that you put these parts in what they are and what they go to. Tons of families out there have just drawers or boxes full of parts that they have no idea what they are. So we're going to pull this up, rotating it and pulling it back, and that's out of the way. This is what it looks like. Now you'll see the one in my hand, I cheated a little bit. This is actually the burst pack. It has all the little parts and pieces to make it work, and that's just because this lower receiver already had the burst kit installed. So instead of going home and pulling mine out of storage, I'm just recycling it for demonstration purposes. But yours will be this exact same thing without all the parts and pieces in it. Okay, set it aside. Next thing, we got to take the hammer out. When you do that, there's the hammer pin itself. We're going to drift it towards me as it's shown here, and take the pin, put it aside, and just jiggle it a little bit, and it should come straight out. Okay. Now these hammers, when they were brought in as semi-autos, they didn't have a notch, or maybe they had too deep of a notch, but needless to say, they were modified by the converter. Whoever did the conversion for you, they welded up a little section and cut a notch for that full auto sear. But if you look on the other side, they came from the factory. Let's see if I can find a little pointer here. They came from the factory with this flat edge here and a hole, and that hole is to retain the axis pin for the pawl, which engages the burst assembly. So if you see that, remember what that is, and then and we'll come back to it here in just a minute. Okay, so in your kit that you bought, what you should expect to see are 4 little components, and one is the ratcheting mechanism itself. Okay, that's this sheet metal portion with all the bits and pieces installed. A small pin, that's an axis pin for the paw. Then we have the paw itself, and then we have a spring. Okay, you need all 4 of these parts, and they're tiny, to make it work. So if you don't have all these parts, get a hold of me and we'll see what we can do to help you out. All right, setting that aside, let's get started on installation. Okay, all right, so doing this on camera is going to be a little bit tricky. Hopefully I can get it all. Here is that flat portion on the hammer that we talked about. We're going to take our spring with the crook end. I don't know if that's coming in or not, but and it's going to come down, and it's going to rotate into the back of the hammer. See that? And then we have this portion presented upwards. All right. On the paw, I don't know if that's going to come in or not. There are 2 holes. Maybe you can see them, maybe you can't. The smallest of the hole is for the spring, and the large hole is for this axis pin that we're going to put in. Okay. So let's get the axis pin. Set the axis pin inside the hole. Okay. Take our paw, and the spring portion goes in that small hole first. And like I said, it's going to be hard to do on camera, but I'm going to do the best I can, and if you bear with me, I'd sure appreciate it. Okay. All right. That turned out pretty good. So if you see, we have the paw on there, and one of the holes, the smaller one, has that spring that's at a 90-degree angle pointed upwards. It's in that side, and then the center one is that axis pin, and it's all held together tight. All right, here it goes. So to get the hammer back in, and this is a little finicky, try not to set it up top and go straight in. Lay it down a little bit and push down and kind of go forward. And it's hard to explain. You're going to have to feel for it. That's just the best that I can do. But how you'll know it's installed properly is it's going to move within the lower receiver assembly. If it is really stiff, you probably don't have it right. You probably got in forward of that trigger assembly. But you can feel there's a little bit of spring there. We're going to walk it down, and I hope I get this on the first try, and hold it without overshooting it. Oh, went in too far. Let's try again. Still looks good. Find the back side of the pin, and we're almost there. And we're in. Okay, the pin is all the way in, and it's not flush because it's got a head on it, but it's pushed all the way in. okay? So now that that's good to go, let's put in our hammer spring. The hammer spring retainer on the back, it's slipped, it's rotated down a little bit. We're going to go up just a little bit, not very much at all, just a little bit. And then we're going to stick the back side of the axle on there. Now, it's better if we get the hammer up here. Well, of course, it didn't take. So I'm going to leave all these unedited because you're going to have these same challenges. Let's try and put this pin in one more time. Remember how I mentioned that it binds up if you don't get it just right? Well, it was binding up, and no big deal. We'll just take the pin out, try again. There we go. All right, so now the hammer is in, the hammer is up, and the pin is all the way, not flush, but it's shouldered against the side of the receiver, and see it moves. Okay, that's great. Let's get this hammer spring again. Let's put the hammer spring in the back. It's still looking good. And we're gonna grab our screwdriver and cross our fingers that it doesn't go flying. Down just a little bit, in, and that worked out just lovely. Okay, so all that's put together. Let's put in our ratcheting assembly. The ratcheting assembly has that little fork. That fork is going to go and lock in the hammer pin. So make sure that it's all the way in, and it slides down in there. I can get it, and down. See, it's in there, it looks good. We're going to take our selector and push it back in. If the burst kit is a little low, we can raise it up. It goes in. Okay, now we do a function test, okay? So if we have it in safe, make sure our sear is disengaged. Nothing, okay? Go down to 1, and then it rides forward, comes back while I'm still holding on the trigger, and it locks it down. I release it, and it's now grabbed by the full auto sear. We're gonna put it in 3-round burst, and if we, now this is, you're gonna see me work my hand magic here, but I'm gonna have to try and get that away. I pull the trigger, it goes and it fires once, fires twice, fires 3 times, and then it locks on 3. So that's the 3-round burst kit is working. Okay, we could do the same safety check with the full auto where it repeated more than 3 times. But now we've properly installed a 3-round burst kit. What else? I will say that unlike other guns, the 3-round burst kit in this particular firearm is self-resetting. So if you do a string and it's 2 rounds, like the AC556, for example, it's always counting. So if you did 2, the next one would be 1. If you did 1, the next would be 2, and so on and so forth, because it always adds up to 3. On this gun, if you shot 1, if you let go a little bit too early, the next string would be 3. It's always resetting, and in that way, that as long as you do your part and hold down on that trigger while it's in the 3-round burst mode, you're going to get 3 rounds. Okay, install this back in the upper and do a live fire exercise, and enjoy your gun. Guys, I hope this video helped, and I appreciate all your support along the way. If you have any questions or have any comments, I'd sure appreciate you reaching out, and I'll do the best I can to answer. All right, thank you all. Bye-bye.